we're starting to get into prehistoric music. So we're talking about pre-written records, so pre-recorded history. And this is such a wide genre of music, and it's still evolving what we understand of it because it is pre-written history. So new information is always coming up from archaeologists and ethnomusicologists. So in this lesson, I really want you to understand how we know that this music was created and how it was developed. So I hope that you are able to understand more about ethnomusicologists.
So prehistoric music, we've got to start by looking at the ethnomusicologist. And this is a person that looks at paintings and artifacts and remains to get an idea of what a culture was like based on music. Then we get the first instruments. The very first instrument ever was the human voice. Think about little babies. They are making noises and exploring their voice right from the very beginning. So human voice was the very beginning. But after that, we began making instruments from our environment. Think about drums made from trunks and animal skins and flutes made from bone. The oldest flute is between 35,000 and 40,000 years old. Really old, although the first flute that's considered playable is between 7 and 9,000 years old. Originally, music was an oral tradition, so it was passed down by a voice. It was not written down. Originally, mankind did not have written language, and so it took a while for music to be written down. About 1400 BC was when the first written music appears, and it came from ancient Greece. Then when we go over to Egypt, we get tomb paintings depicting people playing instruments and singing. And they have the sistrum, which is this instrument on the far left, and it is a type of rattle that was used in religious ceremonies. They also had court musicians used for entertainment. In Israel, music was part of religious services, and we get the Psalms, and these were poems that were sung by trained musicians. You can still see the text of many Psalms in the Jewish and Christian traditions today. They also had the shofar, which was made from a ram's horn. It's this over here, and it is a precursor to the trumpet. The shofar is still used in religious ceremonies today, and you can still see it in use. In China, the culture buried their possessions with them when they died, and so we can see different examples of flutes and bells and chimes from these possessions. When we get to the Qin dynasty, don't quote me on that pronunciation, there was a group that studied the folk music of the people, and because of this, there is a written record of that music that still survives. That was about 221 to 206 BC. They also used the pentatonic scale, which was a 5-note scale. The Chinese culture still uses the pentatonic scale, and this can also be found in Native American cultures and other types of world music. Next, we move over to ancient Greece, where music was extremely culturally important. They believed that gods created music to make the organization of the universe understandable and visible to mankind. We can see this depiction in various paintings, and we also can see remains of different musical instruments. Pythagoras, who you might recognize his name if you've already studied the Pythagorean theorem, discovered acoustics and music of the spheres. So he discovered acoustics by taking a string from a lyre, which is this instrument in the background, and when he divided it in half, he found that it was exactly 1 octave higher than the original note played by the string. If he divided it by a third, it was the same as a fifth higher. Pythagoras continued to use this method in the discovery of all the notes that we use in our scale for Western music. There are 7 scale steps in our Western scale. Then they had the doctrine of ethos, which said that music influences moral character. So that's why they studied it in schools. They wanted their children to be of good, strong moral character. And you can still see this in music today. Think about children's songs. We use it to teach children everyday tasks or ways that we want them to be. There's a song called The More We Get Together. That's a children's song. It's the more we get together, together, together. The more we get together, the happier we'll be. If your friends are my friends and my friends are your friends, the more we get together, the happier we'll be. This song is used to teach morals to children of let's just be friends. And so we still use this idea today that music can be used to teach morality. Music of ancient Rome was typically used for festival music. And once Christianity came and became a part of Rome, they banned instruments, so it became a strictly vocal tradition. This was because instruments were associated with the pagan tradition and they wanted to separate themselves from that. It was also used heavily in military, specifically horns used to communicate on the battlefield. Now, they created amphitheaters, which had the best acoustics for the time. Now, we still use this shape today in different venues, but it mimics the shape of a mouth, which is used to project outwards. Also think of the shape of an ear used to capture sound. Now here are some different instruments of Greece and Rome. When Rome took over Greece, they adopted these instruments as well. All kinds of instruments, different ways of playing them, blowing, plucking, banging. Still like today, they had their families of instruments.
So now that you've explored a little bit more about prehistoric music, I'd like for you to take the time on your own. This is not a requirement. This is just an enrichment idea. Go to YouTube and type in prehistoric instruments. You'll be able to see videos of different artifacts that have been found of the different kinds of instruments that they would have used during different prehistoric time periods. And it's amazing how the peoples of these times worked with what they had and what was around them. So take some time to go look that up. Reminder, this is your friendly video reminder. This video does not replace live sessions or recordings of live sessions. I do not go over everything in the unit in these videos. I do not cover all of the information within the units I do cover. So please make sure that you are either watching the recordings or better yet, attending the live sessions. Email me or call me if you need any help. My phone number and email are on the screen. I am here to help you. Just let me know what you need.